One of the more renowned models to come out of Medarot Navi for many reasons not to be mentioned, but also part of the iconic mermaid line. It is MAR02 Marine Healer, with a kit of all repair, double charge repair, sea legs, and the leg ability of continuous P, which passively buffs leg speed every turn the longer the fight drags on. Now, as a model available in Medarot S's permanent banner, Marine Healer is one of those models that you'll probably see within your first few rare pulls or multi-pulls in any gacha, because she is a rather common model to get a hold of. But in the right hand, she can most certainly be a very dedicated and very well-rounded healer if situations can be made ideal in her favor. All Repair on her head is a healing skill that, once used, will choose one part across herself and her entire team and restore lost HP to that particular part. Now, of course, the healing is tied to the mastery of healing on the metal, so the higher the healing level is on the metal, the more HP they'll get back. But this also is requiring that they don't actually have a part broken, and it will also choose a part at random when doing so. Charge Repair on both arms is another healing skill that will heal lost HP relative not only to her healing mastery on her metal, but also as well as how much metaphor she has charged in her gauge. So not only does she require having a mastery in healing, which is kind of needs to go without saying for a model like her, but also the more metaphor she has charged on the side as a passive, the more efficient that this healing can be made. But it also is worth noting again that the part has to be damaged but not broken. Sea Legs means that she will have moderately decent coverage across most terrains, as arguably one of the third most rounded legs under multiped and biped in particular, but also specializing in having a high base evade as to be expected of an aquatic leg. However, it is also worth noting that Sea Legs have a particular mastery on aquatic terrain which no other leg types seem to match, which means while even multi-ped legs at B rank or float legs at A rank may struggle on wet or watery based terrains, that aquatic terrains is what Marine Healer will specialize in and zoom back and forth very, very easily, making her job as a healer all that easier for her and much more efficient. As far as HP goes, she's kind of in that mid-range where she's not terrible, but she is rather squishy if I'm being completely honest. With a head HP of about 3350, arms about 2350 each, which even for female types is moderately low, and legs at about 3750, she is going to be pretty easy to take down if you hammer her hard enough, because she has a very light armor pool, and even her resist stats on her legs really aren't all that great either, with having a melee resist of 854 and a shoot resist of 875. She not only has rather light armor, but also, unfortunately, pretty nasty paper defenses too. Now, that's not to say having it in the 800s isn't bad, but she will be taking a considerably higher amount of damage from anyone else on the team because she just doesn't have the armor to keep her damage low. But she is also packing a mobility of 599, which is par for the course for Sea Legs essentially, not in that terrible range, but kind of where you'd expect. But an evade of 1838 does mean that she will be relying a lot on her high mobility to keep her damage low by dodging or grazing a lot of attacks to keep it controlled. But given that she is also a sea-legged model means that she is weak to the anti-sea attack. So anyone that is packing the torpedo-based attack on their team will absolutely shoot this mermaid down and take her out before she even has a chance to do what she's designed to do. That being said, as a pure set score, I do sadly have to rate Marine Healer a pretty flat 4.5 out of 10. Given that healing is something that she is very good at, her leg resist stats are honestly not all that great, and having paper armor, her arms in the 2300s no less, means that she is going to be very, very light, very squishy, and easy to take out if she's on your team. Now, having the leg ability of Continuous P will work as an advantage to her, as it does mean that the longer the fight drags on, the faster she gets. But that's assuming, like once again, that she can actually have that time allotted to get herself up to speed. If someone takes her out before that has a chance to activate, that's unfortunately completely useless to her. As mixed parts though, I do have to rate her significantly higher at a 6 out of 10. given that even though she is packing very light armor and very light resist stats, sea legs is generally something it wouldn't hurt to have one or two on hand ready to go, even if just for the sake of having them on standby just in case you have to fight on aquatic terrain. And even though the legs resist stats are rather light, as long as you can keep them covered, you can actually cover this moderately well with a shielder or a defender. Plus, the leg ability of Continuous P means that the longer the fight drags on, as mentioned, the faster you get. So if you were to pair this off with someone such as, say, a support buffer or an ailment fighter, or someone of the like, especially for female bots where it is kind of tricky to do so, you could possibly spin this back around and make use of that progressively boosted speed as long as you can keep her covered and protected.